What if the perfect memory wasn't in your head, but in your DNA? In a chilling tale of obsession, cloning, and deeply buried secrets, the cloning experiment takes us to the edge of science and morality. With each twist darker than the last, one woman fights for her identity while trapped in a nightmare of her own likeness. Stick around. You won't believe how this twisted experiment ends. Emerging from a vat of viscous black liquid, a young woman named Ashley is carefully washed and dressed. When she wakes, she finds herself in an unfamiliar bedroom with a man, Spencer, quietly observing her. Ashley is struck with confusion, unable to recall her identity or whereabouts. Spencer, rather than clarifying her situation, shares a bottle of wine and plays a song he claims is significant to them. He presses her to remember, but she repeatedly insists she doesn't know him. Spencer's frustration boils over, and in an outburst, he moved her to the floor until she lies motionless. He took her in a tank outside the house. Shortly after, Spencer's mother, Victoria, arrives. Unshaken by the scene, she hands Spencer a notebook, urging him to document his thoughts on the event. Spencer agrees reluctantly, but dismisses the unalived woman as not being the real Ashley. Victoria retreats to her laboratory, grappling with her failed experiment. A geneticist, she has been cloning Ashley in an attempt to fulfill Spencer's disturbing desires. Meanwhile, Spencer slides the notebook under her door and broods over the clone's inability to feel authentic. Victoria receives a virtual call from Parker, Spencer's estranged father. Parker expresses concern over Spencer's escalating behavior and suggests clinical intervention. Victoria dismisses the idea, fearing the system might take her son away. Instead, Parker advises her to observe Spencer more closely. Hesitant but desperate, Victoria installs a camera in Spencer's room, hoping to gain insight into his actions. As another clone of Ashley is prepared, Victoria meticulously ensures this version looks perfect, even applying makeup. She delivers the clone to Spencer's room, where he impatiently waits. Upon awakening, Ashley again fails to recognize Spencer, triggering his rage. Despite her attempts to escape, Spencer unalived her in a fit of fury while Victoria watches from the monitor, visibly distraught. Afterward, Spencer destroys the camera in a burst of anger. A flashback reveals the origin of the real Ashley. Spencer encountered her abandoned on a desolate road, left behind by a mysterious driver. Feeling a strange compulsion, he invited her to his home, offering shelter from the cold. In the present, Spencer confronts Victoria, insisting the clones lack the essence of the real Ashley. Victoria pleads for more time to perfect her creations, assuring him it's only her fourth attempt. As Victoria continues her experiments, Parker presses her to return to her corporate responsibilities. Employees at her company are beginning to question her absence. Victoria, undeterred, focuses on humanizing the next clone, engaging her in conversations and activities to simulate authenticity. She also advises Spencer to distance himself from the clone to allow her time to adjust. Reluctantly, he agrees and immerses himself in his artwork. One afternoon, Spencer stumbles upon the clone chatting with Victoria. Though curious, he refrains from confrontation and retreats outdoors, sketching the ants he observes. During a walk, he encounters a new neighbor, Marissa, who is house-sitting nearby. They quickly form a connection, and Spencer, inspired, sketches a portrait of her. That evening, Marissa visits to thank him with cookies, but her presence alarms Victoria, who warns Spencer against interacting with outsiders. Later, Victoria discusses Marissa with Parker, expressing unease over Spencer's fascination with the new neighbor. She also shares progress on the latest clone, which seems closer to replicating Ashley's essence. The following day, Spencer delivers the plate to Marissa and presents her with the portrait he created. Impressed, Marissa asks him to design a tattoo for her, revealing the back of her neck as the intended spot. Her compliment catches Spencer off guard, leaving him conflicted as their bond deepens. When Spencer returns home, Victoria confronts him, demanding to know where he's been. Furious upon hearing he visited Marissa again, she sternly reminds him to stay away from her. Spencer protests, but Victoria deflects his frustration by promising he can meet the latest version of Ashley the next day. A flashback reveals more details about the night Spencer brought the real Ashley home. While he prepared drinks, Ashley slipped away to the bathroom, where she secretly used a small packet of recreational powder. Returning to the living room, she requested her favorite song from the house AI and remarked on how late Victoria would be home. She invited Spencer to his room, where things began to escalate. Back in the present, Victoria coaches the latest Ashley, encouraging her to connect with Spencer by discussing his passions for art and nature. Victoria then leads Ashley to Spencer's room, pretending to leave while secretly listening outside. Inside, Spencer plays Ashley's favorite song and offers her wine. As Ashley flips through his sketchbook, she compliments his artistic skill until she stumbles upon eerie portraits of herself. Growing uneasy, she hesitates, prompting Spencer to close the sketchbook and ask her to dance. As they move, Ashley cautiously asks questions, and Spencer quickly realizes she doesn't remember him either. In a sudden fit of rage, he begins choking her while Victoria listens helplessly as her son murders yet another clone. After disposing of the body in the tank, Spencer tells Victoria that everything feels artificial to him, as if an invisible barrier separates him from reality. However, he admits that for a fleeting moment with the latest clone, he felt alive again, just as he had with the real Ashley. For the first time in a while, Spencer hugs his mother in gratitude. Encouraged, Victoria shares this progress with Parker, resolving to continue the experiment in the hope it might eventually rehabilitate Spencer. The following day, while Spencer reflects on the clone he just unalived, Marissa arrives for a visit. They chat, and Marissa reveals she once attended therapy for an eating disorder, but stopped after making progress. Spencer hesitantly admits he also went to therapy, but avoids sharing details about why he quit. During their conversation, Spencer notices a strand of hair left behind from the clone and discreetly covers it with his foot while Marissa invites him to an art exhibit. Another flashback reveals the fateful night with the real Ashley. While exploring Spencer's sketches, Ashley praised his work and revealed a tattoo on her arm. The mood shifted as Ashley playfully teased Spencer, sparking feelings he'd never experienced. When he attempted to escalate the interaction, Ashley resisted, asking to take things slower. Spencer snapped, lashing out at her in a violent outburst. Though Ashley fought back and tried to escape, he overpowered her, ultimately unaliving her in the same brutal manner that would define his later actions. In the present, Victoria finishes preparing another clone and tells Spencer she needs more time to refine the process. Ashley awakens in a guest room, where Victoria explains she's recovering from an accident and will stay with them until she regains her memories. Later, Victoria takes Ashley outside to show her a video of Spencer as a child playing with his dogs, who had since passed away. Victoria shares the gravesites, philosophizing about the inevitability of death. When Ashley hugs her for comfort, Spencer observes them from his window, triggering another memory of that terrible night. Victoria had returned home to discover Ashley's lifeless body. In a rare display of anger, she slapped Spencer, accusing him of failing to improve. Their argument hinted at Spencer's culpability in the mysterious deaths of their family dogs. When Spencer assured her that no one knew Ashley had been there, Victoria reluctantly agreed to dispose of the body using her lab equipment. On the day of the art exhibit, Spencer confides in Marissa that he has never attended an art show before. He reveals he was homeschooled after a traumatic childhood event. As a child, he had accidentally pushed a classmate off a jungle gym during a game, leading to her death. Since then, Victoria had kept him isolated, which Marissa finds unfair, insisting that he was only a child at the time. Later, Marissa surprises Spencer by showing him that the portrait he gave her is now displayed in the exhibit. At first, Spencer feels violated, angry that she exposed his work without permission. However, Marissa explains her pride in his talent, and Spencer's anger softens as he processes her admiration. That evening, Victoria notices Spencer isn't in the house and discovers he left his phone behind. Marissa later brings him home, catching a glimpse of Ashley watching from a window before leaving. Once inside, Victoria confronts Spencer, furious over his continued defiance. She reminds him that only she truly understands him and insists he doesn't need anyone else. Spencer, however, defends his connection with Marissa, admitting she makes him feel different. Ashley, overhearing this from her room, becomes increasingly confused. Memories of being dragged and choked haunt her dreams, leaving her shaken. The next morning, Ashley steps outside to clear her mind. When Victoria approaches, Ashley confesses her troubling dreams and questions why Spencer seems so distant. Victoria dismisses her concerns, insisting Spencer is shy and emphasizing that he was the one who saved her. Later, Victoria shares these developments with Parker, expressing both anxiety over Ashley's growing awareness and excitement about the possibility of DNA-carrying memories. Ashley grows suspicious and sneaks into Spencer's room, where she uncovers nail marks beneath the carpet that match her dreams. Further exploration leads her to a sketchbook, where she is horrified by increasingly sinister portraits of herself. She takes the sketchbook back to her room, but is interrupted by Victoria's knock, hastily hiding it under a pillow. Later, Spencer tells Victoria he wants to change his life. He yearns for normalcy and meaningful relationships. Victoria vehemently opposes the idea, reminding him of his violent tendencies since childhood. The next day, Marissa sneaks onto the property and spots Victoria and Ashley talking in the garden. She snaps a quick photo, but the sound of her phone alerts Victoria. Before she can investigate, Marissa vanishes. Victoria's absence from work prompts a call from her frustrated employee, who warns her that the board is growing impatient. Reluctantly, Victoria agrees to attend a meeting. Before leaving, she locks Ashley in her room for safety. Meanwhile, Marissa researches Ashley online and is stunned to discover she is a wanted criminal. She texts this information to Spencer, but the message is intercepted by Victoria, thanks to their shared phone connection. Alarmed, Victoria rushes home, ignoring her work obligations. Ashley, now alone, finally examines Spencer's sketchbook and grows more disturbed by the grotesque progression of her portraits. Overwhelmed, she discards it. Meanwhile, Marissa, worried when Spencer doesn't reply, sneaks into the house. Spencer confronts her in the kitchen, cryptically mentioning his intention to change before suddenly attacking her. Marissa grabs a wine bottle and smashes it over his head, using the chaos to flee. Desperate, she instructs the house AI to call 911. Her struggle and screams are captured on the emergency call. Ashley, hearing the commotion, finds a hammer hidden in her closet and breaks the lock on her door. In the kitchen, Spencer holds Marissa down and prepares to pierce her with a shard of glass, only to notice Ashley standing in the hallway. As headlights from an approaching car illuminate the house, Ashley retreats to the lab. There, she discovers Victoria's equipment and a recording of the clones emerging from the vat. Horrified, she also finds wanted posters, realizing the original Ashley was a criminal. Victoria arrives to find Marissa's lifeless body and lashes out at Spencer. Upon discovering that Marissa managed to contact 911, Victoria orders Spencer to retrieve Ashley and dispose of the bodies. As Spencer searches the house, Victoria panics, fearing she'll be implicated. Ashley, hiding in the lab, confronts Victoria with the hammer, demanding answers. Victoria claims Spencer rescued her from a life of crime, but Ashley counters with her memory of him unaliving her. Enraged, she swings the hammer, destroying the computer instead. The noise draws Spencer to the lab, and he rushes to defend his mother. Ashley strikes Victoria with the hammer, but is tackled by Spencer. In a desperate move, she hits him in a sensitive area and escapes. Outside, Ashley hides behind a car, waiting for Spencer to emerge. When he does, she ambushes him, punching him repeatedly. Fueled by rage, she drives him to the ground and strikes his head against the pavement until he stops moving, mirroring the fate of his victims. Police arrive at the scene and immediately arrest Ashley. Later, Victoria finds Spencer's lifeless body and collapses in grief. Despite her anguish, she refuses to give up. She bids farewell to Parker, destroys the virtual reality system, and begins preparations to clone her son. And just like that, the line between humanity and obsession is shattered. A mother's desperate attempt to preserve her son spirals into one final, chilling act of cloning. What would you do if your DNA could trap you in an endless cycle of survival? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more jaw-dropping recaps and psychological thrillers.